committee goes into private session at 5 o'clock. So the members who are present who are not members of the committee have 3 minutes each. We start with Senator Francis Black.
I don't mind passing over to Michael, if that's okay, and then I can come in after Michael, if that's okay.
Chairman, I'm happy to leave the last words to Francis Black from those who aren't on the committee. As I understand it, what you're saying is that as between member states of the European Union, there is a treaty entitlement to prevent the importation of goods from one country to another on public policy grounds. And that's a treaty right. And am I right in thinking too that in relation to this particular set of circumstances, that it's agreed that it's not the nature of the goods, it's the origin of the goods, having regard to the ICJ advice that's an issue?
Well, it could be either in any
hypothetical case. I know, but I'm saying that in this particular case, exactly. An orange grown in Jaffa is in Israel, and that wouldn't be covered by this, whereas an orange grown in the occupied territories would be covered by it. So can we take it then that the public policy relates to the origin of the goods and not their nature? That's the second point. And now, what I'm saying to you is, and I understand your point that you don't have the regulatory platform that you do in relation to goods expressed in European law, that regulation. But can I put the following proposition to you? It seems to me to be utterly devoid of common sense that Ireland could say in relation to a service coming from Luxembourg, it can't come into Ireland, it cannot be supplied in Ireland. It could be anything like assisted suicide or anything like that. It could be anything on public policy grounds. But that it is open to the EU to say to Morocco in an agreement, forget about Irish public policy, you can supply that exact same service to Ireland. Does that not strike you as highly unlikely as an interpretation?
Well, if there were an agreement with Morocco...
Yes, but supposing there's an agreement for the supply of services, no mention of the nature of the services, and you say, oh, well, Ireland isn't in a position to say no to the supply of a service that it could say no to from Luxembourg or from Holland or from France, because this is an EU competence under a general power under the treaties. Does that not strike you as extremely contrived and highly unlikely?
Well, you can present it in that way. The way in which these things generally operate is that we're talking about trade in services with other states. This is an exceptional case. Obviously, we do not recognise the settlements as part of the State of Israel. The trade in services are generally regulated under the WTO General Agreement on Trade and Services, and each party to that agreement will set out a schedule of services the other states are entitled to access.
Well, I heard that, but I mean, regardless of the categorisation, I'm suggesting to you that this is a contrived artificial distinction without any Senator, basis in common sense.
Thanks, Senator. We run meetings in a particular way here, so I'm sorry we don't have more time. Senator.